Right now at 5, a Carl Junction intersection crash sends 2 drivers to the hospital and results in a felony DWI charge for one of the drivers.
Well, we've got some patchy fog out there for some of us this morning. We're keeping an eye on thunderstorm chances later this week. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, police body cameras capture a deadly 30-second encounter at St. Louis Airport where officers killed a man who refused to drop a knife.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now, it's Monday and it's January the 5th. So we're now getting into the first full week of 2026. So hopefully, again, for everybody, it's kicking off nicely. It's been good so far.
We've already had our first weekend of 2026.
We have.
And I know I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed yours.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Managed to get the Christmas decorations down. Did learn that the Christmas tree will not fit into the attic. The opening we have it's not big enough. The box is slightly larger than the opening. I didn't build the house, okay? It's an older house, and the attic opening is very small. And the tree box, I got it up the ladder and realized it would not fit through the opening, so I'll store it somewhere else. But otherwise, everything else is put away, and hopefully your Christmas decorations are put away, because this past week, it was a pretty good one to do that.
Yeah.
With some mild temperatures out there. I mean, it was chilly, but otherwise not too bad. This morning, pretty chilly again, not too bad, and we do have some fog. We're going to start, though, with our live look from downtown Pittsburgh. You can see it's a little hazy out there, again, because we do have some patchy fog for some of us across the area. The Wesco camera, 7th and range line in Joplin, looks good so far. We're going to head over to the KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh, and if you look off just above the banner, again, just some light fog out there, but nonetheless, some fog is visible there. And then 20th and range line, MoDOT camera there, looking pretty good. So here's the fog tracker. Here's where we're looking at the fog. Reduced visibility, really most of the western portion of our area, and then up far north. So Stockton, Nevada, Fort Scott, Iola, Yates Center, Chanute, Fredonia, Sedan. You kind of get the idea here. Most of it is along into the west of 69, but then you head up a little further north and you start to get some along the 54 corridor. So low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them, and of course slow down out there. We're sitting at 44 in Joplin right now, 41 in Pittsburgh. So temperatures continuing to remain above normal out there. We've got some upper 30s here and there. We've got Miami at 37, one of the cooler spots across the region. The majority of us are in the low to mid 40s, and looking around very quickly, it looks like Yates Center is the warm spot, sitting at 46, but we do have a breeze. And here at the station, our tower, when it gets really windy in the upper levels of the atmosphere, higher up, you can hear the wind in the tower, even though sometimes you don't feel it at the surface. And it's a bit breezy, and winds are going to increase today. So we do have wind chills this morning into the 30s. Some colder ones out east. Feels like 30 in Stockton is one of the colder wind chills. A mix of sun and clouds. We start clear, and then we should have partly cloudy to mostly clear skies as we head through the day. And again, those winds are going to really start to ramp up here before too much longer out of the south, gusting upwards of 30 with sustained winds, 10 to 20, so breezy. If you're traveling, keep that in mind. Again, clear to start, upper 40s, about 60 by noon, and heading to the afternoon, highs into the mid to upper 60s. Warm weather continues as we settle into another spring-like pattern, and we do have some thunderstorm chances later this week we're keeping an eye on. We'll have the details in your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. A Joplin man has been charged with a felony DWI after a serious accident Saturday evening. Shortly after 7 p.m. on Saturday, Carl Junction Fire Department was alerted to a rollover crash on West 7th at Black Cat Road. A pickup and passenger car were located at the northwest corner of the intersection. Missouri State Highway Patrol reports that the driver of a 2015 Jeep Renegade was traveling north through the intersection, failed to yield, and was struck by a westbound pickup truck. The driver of the pickup suffered minor injuries and was transported to the hospital via private vehicle. The driver of the Jeep, 36-year-old Zachary Teeter, was rushed to the hospital for serious injuries and after an investigation was cited for felony DWI. He was arrested but is still receiving ongoing care for his injuries. The trial of a former police officer who responded when a gunman attacked an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, gets underway today. Adrian Gonzalez is facing charges of child abandonment and endangerment. Prosecutors allege Gonzalez failed to engage, distract, or delay the teenage gunman when he opened fire at Robb Elementary School in 2022. The shooting killed 19 children and 2 teachers. Gonzalez denies any wrongdoing. His lawyer says Gonzalez actively responded to the threat. The trial is taking place in Corpus Christi. It was moved out of Uvalde County because of the impact the shooting had on the community. Well, police stopped a semi-tractor trailer on I-70 Saturday afternoon for a routine inspection. The driver was en route from Joplin, Missouri to Richmond, Indiana. Police searched the vehicle, finding 309 pounds of cocaine in the sleeping area of the truck. The 2 occupants were taken into custody without incident and transported to Putnam County Jail. ICE deportation holds were also placed on both suspects. Released video shows the moment an officer-involved shooting turned deadly at a St. Louis Lambert International Airport. The body camera footage stems from an incident in November involving a man armed with a knife. David Amalado walks us through the video, which is graphic.
This is the moment St. Louis Airport police responded to a man, later identified as 31-year-old Darius Kennedy, near a bathroom in Terminal 1 last November. Police say Kennedy was told to leave the airport, but refused and pulled a knife from his jacket.
Drop the knife!
You can hear police start to yell for Kennedy to drop the knife.
Drop the knife!
The video shows Kennedy ignoring those commands and running toward an officer. Another officer uses a taser, but Kennedy doesn't stop. Here you can see from the perspective of the officer firing his gun 4 times, striking Kennedy. All of this happening in less than 30 seconds.
Put your hands up now.
After he falls, the taser officer can be heard shouting at Kennedy.
I'll blow your head off.
The officer then hits him in the back of the head with his firearm. St. Louis County Police say officers attempted life-saving measures, though we were not provided video of that effort. Kennedy was pronounced dead at the scene. It was later confirmed he was unhoused. We know no officers were hurt. The shooting is still under investigation, and all findings will be sent to the St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office.
One of our biggest stories nationally is an attack carried out in Venezuela early Saturday morning by U.S. forces. President Donald Trump says the U.S. has captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro after a large-scale strike on Caracas. Trump announced on Truth Social that Maduro and his wife were removed from Venezuela by U.S. forces and are now aboard the USS Uvalde en route to New York. He told Fox News he believes no Americans were killed in the operation, though some were injured, and confirmed helicopter was hit, but no aircraft were lost. Well, a man in Oklahoma City who has been behind bars for nearly 30 years has received a new judge after several transfers and recusals. Alyssa Jones has more of the story.
Richard Glossip walked in the courtroom Monday after months of questions surrounding which Oklahoma County judge would take his case. Glossip has spent nearly 3 decades behind bars for a murder-for-hire plot and the death of Barry Van Treese in 1997. He spent years on Oklahoma's death row, surviving 9 execution dates before his conviction was thrown out. Now Oklahoma's Attorney General Gentner Drummond is retrying Glossip for murder, but his case has been at a standstill.
Well, it's important for Mr. Glossip, of course, because he's been sitting in prison, almost executed 9 times, for a crime that he's never even had a fair trial for all this time.
Court records show transfer after transfer of judges, all recusing themselves from the case or being asked to recuse by Glossip. In July, Judge Coyle was the first on the case, but she transferred it in August. In September, Judge Stallings was on the case until Glossip's team filed to recuse her. That was granted in October. In November, the case went before another judge, but Glossip's team asked for a random assignment of a judge. The court then moved the case again, but it was transferred for a 6th time. Finally, in early December, this motion was filed by the district judge over Oklahoma County, saying all district judges assigned to the criminal docket of Oklahoma County have recused, and there's no further process or procedure for the selection and assignment of a trial judge in murder 1 cases. So, Judge Mai, who oversees the civil docket, not criminal cases, was randomly assigned the case. Today, she set dates for the case to finally move forward, a moment Glossip's team says they've been waiting for months.
We're anxious to get the case moving forward, but there are a lot of things that happen between now and the trial date.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Venezuelans in South Florida celebrate in the streets as news of their president's removal brings new hope for their homeland. Plus, Myles Garrett sets the all-time single-season sack record while the Browns beat Cincinnati on a last-second field goal. And we're tracking storms in the 4 states. Chris has a look at your weekly forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, Ukraine and Russia continue exchanging attacks in the new year. Ukraine and Russia. On Friday, Ukrainian authorities say a shopping mall was heavily damaged in an overnight drone attack in Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia region. Officials say a first strike damaged several cars and a residential building, while a second hit the mall, igniting a fire. Thankfully, no deaths were reported. This attack comes as the United States continues its efforts to end the ongoing war between the countries. In South Florida, years of anxiety, separation, and worries of a future are now giving way at the news of the removal of Venezuela's president. Venezuelans in South Florida celebrated new hope for their native homeland Saturday. Businesses frequented by or run by Venezuelans were expecting heavier demand as happiness poured out into the streets over developments. While locals don't have full knowledge of the future of their country, they say life feels different now and is turning in a positive direction.
It's a combination of feelings, of course. There's fears, there's excitement. There's so many years that we've been waiting for this. That something had to happen in Venezuela. We all need the freedom.
And in sports news, the Browns edge out the Bengals in a dramatic finish, 20-18. Devin Bush started it off with a 97-yard pick six, giving Cleveland an early lead. Sam Webb added to it with a 47-yard scoop and score, putting the Browns up 14-6. Joe Burrow responded for Cincinnati, connecting with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase for touchdowns, giving the Bengals a late 18-17 lead. But the night belonged to Myles Garrett. His fourth-quarter sack set the all-time single-season record with 23. Andre Smith sealed it with a 49-yard field goal as the time expired, delivering the win for Cleveland. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Raiders in Las Vegas for the regular season finale with nothing but pride on the line. Travis Kelce may have played his final game as a Chief, and it came down to the wire. In a low-scoring battle, the Raiders took a 9-6 lead on a 55-yard field goal from Daniel Carlson. The Chiefs answered with a field goal, and Harrison Butker put them up by one with just over a minute left. But the Raiders had the last word. Carlson hit a 60-yard field goal as time expired, lifting Las Vegas to a 14-12 win and handing Kansas City its sixth straight loss. The Denver Broncos have clinched the top seed in the AFC, securing a first-round bye. The Patriots finished right behind and will host the Chargers, meaning either Drake May or Justin Herbert will get their first playoff win. The Bills will head to Jacksonville for a matchup of teams both featuring Josh Allen, and the Houston Texans will travel to face the AFC North champ. It all adds up to an intriguing opening weekend for the NFL playoffs. The NFC playoffs field is set, with the Seattle Seahawks clinching the top seed in a first-round bye. The Bears will host their rival Packers in an NFC North showdown, while the East champion Eagles face the San Francisco 49ers. And despite a losing record, the Carolina Panthers get to host the Los Angeles Rams in a wild card round. That's it for sports. We'll be right back. Well, still to come, measles cases surged to levels not seen since 1992, as the CDC warns the U.S. could lose its elimination status. Plus, tracking storms in the 4 states, Chris has a look at your Monday forecast. Entertainment news now from Tinseltown with Rick Damagella in our Hollywood Minute.
Marvel's Avengers Doomsday trailers are racking up the views. The dual Doomsday previews feature the return of 2 of the original Avengers, Chris Evans as Steve Rogers and Chris Hemsworth as Thor. The Rogers trailer has pulled in more than 15 million views since its release, with the Thor trailer surpassing 11 million views in its first few days on YouTube. J-Lo's Vegas residency. The pop legend debuted her Jennifer Lopez Up All Night Live in Las Vegas residency New Year's Eve at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace. The residency runs through March 28th. And if you unwrapped a Nintendo Switch or Switch 2 console this holiday season, a new game for it is out now. Mouse, Mechanized Assault Unit 19, puts players in a retro-style sci-fi platforming adventure. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
I know Avengers Doomsday is really getting some fans excited and can't wait to see it. Well, now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we still have some patchy fog out there, as you can see from downtown Pittsburgh, mainly into southeastern Kansas and northeast Oklahoma, but we do have some of it stretching into southwest Missouri. We'll go over those details with you, and we are going to take a look at the chances for thunderstorms later this week when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now is 5:20. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:22, coming up on 5:23 on this Monday morning. We're going to start with the fog tracker, where for, again, the most part, along and west of the 69 corridor is where we've got some patchy fog, but we also have it along the 54 corridor, including Nevada and Stockton. But you can see Pittsburgh now just over 3 miles of visibility. In fact, in a rare twist here, that's the lowest visibility we have. Usually it's confined around the 54 corridor between Yates Center and Fort Scott, but still patchy fog across most of southeast Kansas into a good portion of northeastern Oklahoma and stretching north of I-44 now into southwest Missouri. So again, low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Slow down. Give yourself time to get where you're going this morning, especially if maybe you've been lucky enough. Maybe you've had the last week or so off from work and now you've got to get back. And fog's not the best way to start it, but just make sure you're prepared for it. As for today, in fact, the next few days, not much going on the future track. We're going to be pretty breezy today, and we're going to be pretty breezy tonight. Winds will then begin to decrease a bit on our Tuesday. Future track is hinting at maybe a sprinkle, but unlikely for tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we continue with a mix of mostly clear to partly cloudy skies between today, tonight, tomorrow, and then on Wednesday, clouds will begin to increase across the area. Not in the beginning of the day, but later in the day. Once we get into the afternoon and evening, we'll see a few more clouds out there as that cold front begins to approach the region and bring us our chance for some showers and thunderstorms. So this is what it looks like kind of on the broader view. As we go into Wednesday, late evening, we could get a few isolated showers or storms ahead of the front. But it's going to be Thursday that this front pushes through, and we start to get shower and thunderstorm chances across the region as we go through the day Thursday. Now, this is what we've been talking about really all of last week. Said we have more information this morning. As of this morning, the risk for strong to severe thunderstorms for this system at this time has gone down significantly. But a lot of things can still change. Even in just 48 hours or so, a lot can change. So we'll keep an eye on it. But again, the good news at least is we need the rain. And model data is at least beginning to agree that as we head into Thursday, we're going to get a few showers and thunderstorms out there that will bring some actual meaningful rainfall. As for the stronger storm chances, we're still keeping a close eye on it. But at least right now, as of this morning, that risk has gone down, but it could go back up by this afternoon. So that's why we'll monitor that for you. As for today, clear skies to start. Clouds will increase gradually, but again, there will be a mix of clear to partly cloudy skies. Some of you may not see very many clouds at all. Mid-40s to start, mid-50s by 11 o'clock this morning, ahead of highs going into the mid to upper 60s, but bear in mind, again, breezy. South winds 10 to 20 sustained, gusting upwards of 30. We'll switch out of the southwest tonight, still breezy 5 to 15 with gusts to 25, and we'll have that, again, mix of clear to partly cloudy skies out there, eventually into the upper 40s, maybe even some low 50s overnight tonight. 60s will continue through at least the front's arrival on Thursday and getting close to 70 on Wednesday. And again, we could get a few scattered late evening storms with the better chances heading into Thursday at this point, which again will be nice. We go into the next week and this weekend, once we get behind that front, temperatures begin to drop. They're still above normal in most cases, but they will start to fall back a bit. That is a check of your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Samantha with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. It's a trend that continues to be popular for the new year. Dry January is a time when people start off the new year abstaining from alcohol or simply cutting back on how much they drink for the month. And experts say staying sober for even a short amount of time can help you be healthier.
It's a new year, and if you're hoping for a healthier start, experts say to try staying sober.
Dry January is a great opportunity to stop drinking or even reduce your drinking for the month.
Psychologist Katie Wickowitz with the University of New Mexico says abstaining from alcohol even for 4 weeks can make a big difference in your health. She says many people experience sleep improvements, increased energy, weight loss, greater physical activity, and improved well-being in general. But she says giving up those cocktails can be challenging.
Get your friends and family on board with doing it with you so that you have that social connection and that social support to get through the month.
Next, Wickowitz says to know your go-to non-alcoholic beverage, whether it's sparkling water, club soda with lemon, or a mocktail. That way it's easy to order when you're out, or you can stock your fridge at home. She says to also be aware of the hard times during Dry January.
Times when it's challenging might be a great way to reflect on how we're actually maybe relying on alcohol more than we wanted to.
Finally, Wickowitz says if you have a slip-up, don't let it derail you.
If you're trying Dry January and you experience a time of drinking, it's totally fine to just start it back up again.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
For the first time in more than 30 years, the U.S. has surpassed more than 2,000 measles cases. That's according to new data from the CDC. The last time more than 2,000 cases were reported in 1 year was in 1992. Ongoing outbreaks, including in South Carolina, continue to add dozens of cases each week. Measles has been considered eliminated in the U.S. since 2000. However, the U.S. is at risk of losing that elimination status if cases continue to grow through late January. Well, it's a critical part of overall health, but many people overlook mental and emotional well-being. With the new year, experts urge everyone to renew their focus on this important part of health, which affects how we think, feel, and act.
When you're sick, you take care of your body. But what about your mind?
We live in very perilous times with lots of stressors around us.
Psychiatrist Dr. Selma Tanovic with El Camino Health says mental health is just as important as physical health, and not to think of them as separate entities, instead to think of both as one.
Taking care of your body, of your physical body, can also help taking care of your minds.
Tanovic says that means eating a healthy diet, exercising regularly, getting enough good quality sleep, all can help overall health.
People who have been exposed to chronic stress not only can develop mental health conditions, but they can also develop different physical conditions such as high blood pressure, heart conditions, and other metabolic abnormalities.
Other ways to prioritize mental health in 2026: stay socially connected. Tanovic says we're social beings and need others, and engage in healthy hobbies. She says it helps our brains process stress, especially ones with repetitive movements like knitting. And in a busy world, listen to your body and set your own pace.
It's okay to stop, and it's okay to make a break, and it's okay to go slowly at times when it's needed.
Finally, Tanovic says to recognize when you need mental health help and see a doctor.
What is important to know is that there is no shame.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
It's also important to remember that you can receive help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through a call, text, or chat to the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The number is 988. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, Missouri's Freeze It program expands to 8 rural communities with a new grant to teach residents how to reduce food waste.
And we've got some patchy fog out there for some of us this morning. Pretty decent day lined up. Storm chances later this week. A look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, protests break out across the United States following an attack carried out by the U.S. on Venezuelan soil.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:33. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Monday, January the 5th. Happy Monday to all of you. Got it through the first weekend of the new year, 2026. Yes. It's starting to kick in. I haven't had to write the date down on anything yet, so I don't think I've had to write the date down on anything for so long. that I don't think it would really matter what year it was. Like, I don't have to ever fill them out. Most everything's done electronically, you know? You don't write the day down anymore. Nobody
But
does.
it still feels weird because I think in my mind, I still am like, as I'm like filling that online and stuff, I'm like, it's 2025. No, it's not.
No, it's 2026. It's happened, whether we wanted it to or not. It has happened, and it is going to be a pretty good one today, at least. As temperatures, we go right back to spring again, almost as warm as where we were for Christmas, but not quite as warm. We're going to start with our live look downtown Pittsburgh, where it is, well, foggy. Skies overhead are clear, but we do have some fog, and you can see that fog is picked up a bit in downtown Pittsburgh. Still isn't down to zero visibility by any means, but it is a little denser now than it was about half an hour ago. Our camera, the Westco camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin, it's clear, no fog there. And the KDOT camera, 69-400, is looking east along 171. You can still see some of that haze, but that fog is a little denser looking, at least camera-wise, in downtown Pittsburgh than it is here to the south. But of course, cameras are going to have interesting perceptions. Like the MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline, between all the lights and its autofocus, it makes it look like there's fog here every morning. But there's not. It's just the way it's perceiving the lights. And so cameras perceive things differently for sure from place to place. Here's a look at the fog tracker though. It does not perceive things differently from place to place. It perceives the data it receives. And really, honestly at this point, I think we're now just along and north of I-44 is where we've got fog. Because take a look, you get Miami at just over 4 miles of visibility, and then you head south into Delaware County and Grove's fine. And so, but you follow I-44 down and points north. So we do have some areas of denser fog across the area. And again, Pittsburgh has the lowest visibility right now, just over 3 miles. So do slow down. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Quick look at those temperatures. 44 in Joplin, 42 in Pittsburgh. Winds are already starting to pick up. It's going to be a breezy day today, which will show you the wind chills here in just a moment. We've got a mix of upper 30s, low mid 40s out there. So again, some upper 30s, Chetopa, Miami, Stockton. We got low mid 40s. We got a lot of 45s. So it doesn't look like there's any one community right now that's warmer than everyone else. But still, all of these temperatures above normal. Wind chills aren't significant at this point, which is good. The coldest we've got is out east here, where Stockton and Greenfield are in the low 30s. Most of us, these wind chills mid to upper 30s. But it does, of course, make it feel a little colder. You see these wind arrows racing by? Well, that's because it's going to be breezy, as I mentioned. And we'll have clouds here and there. So some of you may have clear skies most of the day, if not almost all day. Others, you may have a mix of clouds and sun, but either way you paint it, a pretty nice warm day. Upper 40s by 9 a.m., low 60s or about 60 by noon, mid upper 60s for our highs today. South winds, though, again, if you're traveling, especially in high-profile vehicles, 10 to 20 sustained, gusting upwards of 30. The 60s will continue through at least Thursday. Thursday is when thunderstorm chances begin working in. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. During the holidays, food waste goes up with bigger parties and bigger meals. MU Extension's Freeze It program has been teaching people how to cut back on waste by freezing food and using all parts of their meat and produce. But now that program is expanding to new areas. The North Central Regional Center for Rural Development provided a grant to fund 8 Freeze It programs in rural Missouri and facilitate both local and statewide partnerships with waste management groups. Rural communities tend to have higher rates of diet-related illness and have lower access to fresh food. Food waste can end up in landfills and water systems, backing them up with food that could have been used in a new meal or frozen properly. People in Kansas City are acting quickly upon the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, some protesting the actions by the United States and others celebrating what they say feels like a new beginning. Chandler Watkins has more.
Signs reading "No blood for oil" and U.S. out of the Caribbean could be seen as chants of no more wars for empires could be heard as the group marched down 3rd Street.
No war in Venezuela! There's a lot more energy here today, and that is true across the country. People in this country are not pro-war. They don't want it.
On the other side of town,
Viva Venezuela! Viva Venezuela!
Venezuelans living in the metro were shocked at the news.
When people say, oh, you guys are celebrating the invasion of the United States to Venezuela. No, we are not celebrating that. What we are celebrating is that it's the beginning of the end of this system, which is a horrible system.
Many who gathered fled Venezuela years ago, not knowing if they would be able to ever go back. Now, as they sing their national anthem proudly, they feel uncertain but hopeful for the future of their country.
Part of the lyrics of our national anthem is take down the chains of oppression, take down the chains of oppression.
Y te puedo decir que como todo ser humano lo que quiere es libertad.
And as all human beings, the only thing we want is to be free.
Venezuela, mi patria querida. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Setting finance goals as the new year begins. In Consumer Watch, have you made a New Year's resolution yet? How does putting more money in your pocket sound? In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan has tips on growing your finances.
It's a hangover that can't be cured in a day. Holiday debt. And it's a financial headache hanging over millions of Americans after the holidays. A recent survey from LendingTree found 37% of respondents racked up holiday debt, averaging around $1,200.
Among the priorities Americans should have for the new year, pay down highest cost debt.
Mark Hamrick with personal finance site Bankrate says paying off debt is the first thing people should do to reset their finances in 2026. Next, he says take a hard look at your monthly spending.
My personal preference would be that somebody probably doesn't allocate more than a third of their monthly income to those kinds of housing-related expenses.
Hamrick says rising energy costs have made utilities more expensive, so housing costs may eat up more of your budget.
The reality for homeowners is that this is a very volatile price environment.
Hamrick says your household should have an emergency fund of at least $1,000. And here's how you can grow your money in the future. Hamrick says to put more money into a high-yield savings account, which can have an annual return of about 4%. So let's crunch some numbers in this Bankrate calculator. If you put $5,000 into an HYSA with a 4% annual return and you contribute $100 a month, in 10 years, you'll have made more than $5,000 just in interest, growing your account to more than $22,000. Also look into certificates of deposit known as CDs. Those accounts also offer a fixed interest rate. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
That's it for Consumer Watch, and now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got some patchy fog out there again for some of us this morning, and for others it's clear skies. All of us warming up today. We'll talk about that, plus our rain chances later this week when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now, 5:44.
A well-known California farmer has pled not guilty to murdering his estranged wife. An update on the case in today's AgDay Minute.
I'm Michelle Rook with today's AgDay Minute. Look for new dietary guidelines to be released this month. That's the word from the Deputy Commissioner at the FDA. He told Fox News that the new guidelines that come out in the next 2 weeks will be shorter in length. He says it will also emphasize eating more whole foods. That includes proteins, fruits, vegetables, and dairy. The agency will also recommend minimizing highly processed foods that are loaded with sugar. A prominent California farmer is accused of murdering his estranged wife. 63-year-old Michael Abadi has pleaded not guilty in the shooting death of 59-year-old Carrie Ann Abadi. She was found dead in a home in Pine Top, Arizona. Investigators claim Michael Abadi traveled from El Centro, California to the Pine Top home to commit the alleged crime on November 20th and then returned to California. Michael Abadi comes from a line of farmers in California's Imperial Valley. And pasta lovers are in for a break. The Trump administration has decided to reduce controversial anti-dumping tariffs on some Italian pasta brands. The U.S. Department of Commerce made the move before an anti-dumping investigation concludes in March. The higher tariffs were due to take effect on New Year's Day, but are now set to take effect January 1st of next year. For more Ag News, watch AgDay weekdays on this station or get updates at agweb.com.
Now let's take it over to Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got some patchy fog out there for some of us. Visibilities in Pittsburgh, at least reported visibilities, have come down a bit now, just over 2 miles. This is also a good portion of the southern half of Crawford County, and then stretching into western Barton County on the Missouri side, back through Cherokee County as well. And so along and north of I-44 for the most part is where this fog is. But traditionally, our biggest fog offenders are along the 54 corridor from Yates Center to Stockton, but this time Pittsburgh taking the crown as lower visibilities. But back to the fact of you need to slow down. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Maybe you've been off work for the last week or so. You want to ease back into things. You want to make sure you're being cautious this morning as well, with the potential for this patchy, dense fog here and there across the region this morning. Now, once we get past that, we're going to have a mix of... That's the wrong button. I apologize. There we go. I've done that most of last week, too. I was hitting the wrong one. It's like when you put your hands not in the right position on the keyboard, and you end up typing words that are completely nonsense because they're not right where they should be. All right. We're going to have clear to partly cloudy skies, depending on where you are. It's going to be breezy today and tonight, and we'll continue with clear to partly cloudy skies as we head through our Tuesday, and then Wednesday. It won't be until late in the day on Wednesday that we're going to start to see clouds increasing across the area, so we might even have some clear skies to start. And then by the afternoon and evening, clouds begin to thicken up from the south, and our winds still out of the south out there as temperatures remain quite mild, and then we'll eventually get that opportunity for some showers and storms. Now, as we go into Wednesday evening, not showing up on this future track, but we do have some hints of at least some isolated to scattered shower and thunderstorm chances late Wednesday into early Thursday. But once we get into about Thursday, mid to late morning, let's say 9, 10 a.m., we're going to start to see shower and thunderstorm development increasing across the area as we go through the afternoon and evening hours on Thursday. Now, Thursday is the day we've been talking about for quite some time in terms of the thunderstorm chances. We have seen some changes. We saw a lot of changes last week, a few changes this morning. One of the changes is, again, at least the long-range data, because we're getting closer, is starting to get into better agreement that we are looking at a better chance for some showers and maybe some thunderstorms with meaningful rainfall, because we've still got the drought situation here. What we are still uncertain about is the return of available energy for these storms. Will they have enough energy to intensify beyond just your garden variety thunderstorms, or will that energy not be here fast enough? Now, last week, some of that data, even on the long range, suggested that we'd have that energy in place. As a matter of fact, some of the long-range data last week, even the ones that said it wasn't going to rain, suggested the energy would still be here if it rained. But now they're saying the opposite. They're saying, I'm not so sure about the energy being here. So it's something we want to keep an eye on with these showers and thunderstorms. If the energy comes together, again, we're not expecting a significant severe weather outbreak or anything like that. It's just we could get some strong to potentially severe storms. And in January, it's rare. It's not unheard of in January in our area, but it is rare. So it's something that we do want to keep an eye on over the next couple of days. As for today, the only thing you need to keep an eye on is where your sunglasses are and the sun visor in your car, because it is going to be sunny to start. And again, some of us won't see any clouds today. Others will be partly cloudy. Mid-40s to start, mid-50s by 11 o'clock this morning. Well, now look at your forecast and your wake up. Wait, no, we won't. This is the wrong time of day. I'm going to go home and I'm going to go back to bed. Okay, sorry about that. Mid-60s today, south winds gusting to 30, sustained to 10 to 20. So again, if you're driving a high-profile vehicle, you need to be cautious out there. I am an hour ahead of myself right now. Partly cloudy overnight, back into the upper 40s tonight. Southwest winds gusting to 25. West winds tomorrow at about 5 to 10, mid-60s. And again, we remain in the 60s until that boundary gets here and that front pushes through. Temperatures dropping a bit into the weekend and next week, still for the most part above normal, but definitely cooler. That's a check of your forecast. We're going to be back with more right after this.
Well, lines were outside the door at the grand opening of Webb City's newest bookstore called Somewhere in Time Bookshop. The grand opening featured cinnamon rolls provided by Cineroller and pizza provided by Wildfire Pizza and Pub. The first 50 people to attend the grand opening received a gift basket. The shop also features a used book section located at the back of the store. The Missouri Department of Conservation held a kids' winter bird count at the Shoal Creek Conservation Education Center in Joplin. The event started with a classroom session teaching kids some of the birds that they'll see on the trail. This was followed by kids exploring the trail system, trying to spark interest and curiosity about wildlife in young minds.
And we've got a pretty nice day ahead of us. It's back to spring conditions, though. Clear skies to start our morning. And again, some of you may be clear most of the day, maybe even all of the day. So we're going with partly cloudy, and that's only because we could get some hit and miss clouds across the region. Mid-40s to start, mid-50s by 11 a.m. Ahead of highs climbing into the mid to upper 60s. But with that comes that breeze. It's got to bring in the warm air somehow. South winds 10 to 20 sustained, gusting to 30. So again, if you're driving a high-profile vehicle, especially on any east-west roadways, make sure you got a good hold of that steering wheel. All right, into the evening, again, a mix of clear to partly cloudy skies. Temperatures pretty mild for this time of year. Mid-50s by 10, upper 40s overnight tonight. Southwest winds still gusting, though, upwards of 25 miles an hour. Winds ease up a bit tomorrow, west at 5 to 10. We stay in the 60s through Thursday. A front approaches late Wednesday into Thursday. Few isolated to widely scattered storms are possible late Wednesday. The better chances are Thursday. The severe risk, at least right now, has been dialed back a bit heading into Thursday, but it is something we want to monitor, and because it could return. We'll keep a close eye on it for you. But one way or the other, we're at least looking at some meaningful rainfall to help out a bit with the drought conditions here in the 4 states. On the other side of that cold front, though, temperatures dropping a bit, still technically above average, but much cooler than where we'll be the next few days, back into the 40s and 50s. That is a check of your forecast. We will be back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.